Huckabee is a real specialist for this ball club. Last week in the second half against the Cardinals, he had a 54-yard kickoff return in the second half that really got him started. So here's the kick, and our ball game is underway. Huckabee at the 5. And brought down about the 12-yard line of the Green Bay Packers. That's where the Packers will take over first and 10. Tackle there made by number 45, James Davis. Here's a look at the Green Bay Packers offensive backs and receivers. Lynn Dickey, Gary Ellis, Jesse Clark, James Lofton, and John Jefferson, the two fine receivers we talked about. The offensive line, Henry Childs, Carl Swanky, Dressler, McCarron, Kitson, and Cook.
Ball spotted at the 12-yard line.
We'll get a look at the Raider defense in just a moment. First and 10 for the Packers at their own 12-yard line. Dickey back to pass. Complete to Gary Ellis, but tackled there by Reggie Kinlaw, number 62, the man they call the lawman. All right, the defense for the defending Super Bowl champions. Howie Long, Reggie Kinlaw, who just made the tackle, and Lyle Alzado, the 3 down linemen. The linebackers, and they are a good group. Stanley Adams, who's filling in for the retired Ted Hendricks, Matt Millen, Bob Nelson, and, of course, Rod Martin. In the secondary, Lester Hayes, Mike Haynes, Mike Davis, and Van McElroy. And they are considered one of the finest defensive secondaries in all of professional football. Second and 12 now for the Packers at their 10-yard line. Dickey to pass again. In and out of the hands of James Lofton.
And, you know, I think right in the first series of plays, you'll see what the Packers intend to do. They intend to try to get the ball to their tight end off the backside of the slot, also to their backside of the backfield. They feel, and Dickey told us straight out, they feel we can't live and die with getting the ball to Lofton and Jefferson, though we will certainly try. We have to use our tight end. Henry Childs replacing Paul Kaufman is a serious question mark here. Kaufman, one of the best tight end receivers in the game. They will miss him today. Henry Childs has to pick up the slack.
All right, third down and 12 yards to go for the Packers from their own 10-yard line. Dickey for the third straight time back to pass. Into the flat to Jesse Clark. And Jesse Clark fights off a couple of would-be tacklers and picks up enough yardage for the first down. Rod Martin and Van McElroy coming in to make the tackle.
How often, Jim, do you see the Los Angeles Raiders miss as many tackles as they do? I admit Jesse Clark made a terrific run, but here Dickey is not trying to force the ball up the field and get an interception. He just flips it out here to Clark, who then cuts back inside. Millen misses. Okay, there's another miss right there. Bob Nelson, number 51, and he picks up that first down on his own.
That completion good for 15 yards and a first down for the Packers at their own 26-yard line. First and 10. Again to pass. Pass intended for James Lofton, incomplete. Mike Haynes there on the coverage. And, you know, it's kind of strange because all the Packers were talking about to us yesterday was, yeah, we know that they have great defensive backs and we may not try and pass a lot. That's all they've done so far.
And Mike Haynes will challenge. Many consider him the best pure cornerback. See, he waits to the last minute. Lofton tries to come over him to get the ball. And, of course, Lofton is a major problem for Haynes and Hayes because he's 6 feet 3 inches tall, a real thoroughbred of a wide receiver. But this man is the best pure cornerback in football today.
And they both will be tested severely this afternoon. Second and 10 from their 26-yard line for the Packers. Dickey again to pass. Toss downfield, into and out of the hands of Jesse Clark. Rod Martin is defending there, and that's one of the things that Dickey told us he wanted to do. He wanted to get a back out of the backfield, up the field, and isolate them one-on-one on Raider linebackers.
Exactly right, Jim. They'll put 2 wide receivers to one side of the field as they did that time to the right side of the field, and then they'll come backside either looking for their tight end, number 89, Henry Childs, or looking for a back out of the backfield, either Clark or Ellis. That time, he just didn't get the ball to Ellis, although he was open.
Dickey right now 2 of 5 for 15 yards. It's third down and 10 from the Packers' 26-yard line. The Raiders now in a 4-man rush. What they call their bandit defense. And it's Dickey back to pass again. Lyle Alzado, number 77, was the first to get in and put in pressure. And Mike Davis on a safety blitz came in and made the sack.
And you see there's a Packer down on the field. Take a look at it from the end zone. Carl Swanky, number 67. Watch the right side of your screen. He's trying to block Lyle Alzado. There is pressure up the middle. Dickey tries to scramble out, but he runs right into Alzado, and Swanky can't handle him as there's a Packer down on the field.
And that looks like Dickey. And if it is Lynn Dickey, it is really going to be a serious blow for the Packers if he has to leave the ball game. Meanwhile, Lynn Dickey is hurt on the field. There's no score here in the first period. The Packers a little bit, and he's out of the ball game. But right now it is 4th down for the Packers. Bucky Scribner back to punt for the Packers, and here is Greg Pruitt. Pruitt hit and fumble. And it looks like the Packers have recovered. Darrell Jones, number 43 for the Packers, makes the recovery. Greg Pruitt, who last year was the leading punt returner for the whole National Football League, kind of unusual, uncharacteristic for him to fumble as he was tackled, and a big break for the Packers.
Of course, he's used to running the ball all the years in the NFL. Here he takes it. He's carrying it way outside. See how he's carrying it outside? He's dodging men. He's just hit. Nothing severe, but he coughs it up. And what a break as Jones comes up with the ball for the Packers.
There's a look at Darrell Jones. Big break for the Packers. Now, Lynn Dickey is out, and that means the rookie, Randy Wright from Wisconsin, 6'2", 194 pounds, is on the spotlight.
Randy Wright at quarterback.
1st and 10 from the Raider 39-yard line. Hand off to Gary Ellis. Drop for a yard loss there by Mike Davis, once again doing a lot of blitzing.
We want to take another look because it's so, Dickey being hurt changes the whole complexion of this game. Take a look at Alzado from the outside, beating his man. But Dickey sees Mike Davis on the safety blitz up the middle, tries to evade it, can't get away from Alzado, and then he's hit right here by Davis and jammed to the turf. We don't have a report. We'll try to find out exactly what's wrong with Dickey as Randy Wright is at quarterback, the rookie, as you said, out of Wisconsin. What a spot to be in.
That was the first running play for the Packers, and it was for -1 yard. 2nd and 11 from the Raider 40-yard line. Randy Wright, rookie from Wisconsin. And there's a flag on the play, and I would imagine that that's for a delay of game. And that's kind of a typical mistake that a young rookie might make, especially at the quarterback position, who's really on the spot now.
Delay of the game by the defense, 5 yards, still 2nd down.
By the offense, of course, the Packers take that penalty as we look at Lynn Dickey along the back, and he was speared in the back. So we're going to wait to see if we can get any further report whether he'll be back. He had some problems last week. Remember, he talked about being speared last week. Late in the game here, you see he's in some pain, having trouble moving on the bench. Wright's at quarterback.
And let's see if the Raiders really try and put a lot of pressure on the young rookie. Handoff up the middle to Harlan Huckabee. Tackle there by number 77, Lyle Alzado.
And Jim, a telling comment. You just said before you saw the first running play by the Green Bay Packers. Okay, there we see another running play after a penalty. It changes the entire complexion of this game, having this young man, Randy Wright, out of Wisconsin in there. They'll try to run the ball. They'll try to take some pressure off, and they'll try to let him have some success so that he gets his feet on the ground against the world champion Raiders.
And the Raiders are doing all kinds of shifting on their defensive alignment, really trying to confuse him already. 3rd and 12. Right, handing off to Jesse Clark. Tackle there made by Lyle Alzado as he picks up just about 3 or 4 yards. And as you mentioned, it really just changes the whole complexion of this particular ball game.
3-yard gain on the play.
Other scores around the National Football League this afternoon. Here is a final. St. Louis defeating Buffalo 37-7. A big win for the Cardinals. And here is a shocker. The upset, I would imagine, of the year so far, the young season. Phil Simms leading the New York Giants over the Dallas Cowboys. And for another final, Miami over New England 28-7. Those Dolphins behind Marino. Bucky Scribner back to punt for the Packers. And again, it will be Greg Pruitt about his own 10-yard line. Ball goes into and out of the end zone for a touchback.
Ball goes out of the end zone for a touchback. Raiders take over 1st and 10.
So the Raiders dodge the bullet. Lynn Dickey is injured for the Green Bay Packers. There is no score in the first period. And back at the Coliseum, along with John Dockery, I am Jim Hill. No score here in the first period. The defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Raiders going against the Green Bay Packers, and it is the Raiders' first possession. And Plunkett hands off to Marcus Allen. All right, here's a look now at the starting offensive unit for the defending world champions. Jim Plunkett, of course, at quarterback. Marcus Allen, Kenny King, the running backs. Cliff Branch and Malcolm Barnwell, the wide receivers. The offensive line, Todd Christensen, Bruce Davis, Charlie Hanna, Jim Romano filling in for the injured Mickey Marvin there. Dave Mosbar, Don Mosbar, I should say, is in. Henry Lawrence. Jim Romano is in for Dave Dalby. And Mosbar in for Mickey Marvin. And Plunkett back to pass. Complete to Malcolm Barnwell up about the 29-yard line, which would be just short of a first down. Tackle there made by George Cumbie. A look at the Packer defense, and it is a young one. Carricker and Humphrey are the two young rookies. Of course, Terry Jones is a man in the middle. The two rookies, we're told, are going to be just outstanding football players. Their linebackers, a set of good ones. Anderson Scott, Cumbie, and Mike Mad Dog Douglas. In the secondary, Mark Lee, Tim Lewis, Mark Murphy, and Tom Flynn, who is a rookie back there, and he's a young man that's on the spot.
Frank Hawkins now in the backfield.
3rd and 1 for the Raiders. Hand off to Allen. And he stopped short of the first down. As a matter of fact, he may have lost about a half a yard there. Tackle there made by Bill Neal.
What a strong play, because we all have heard about the size and the talent of that offensive line. But big Bill Neal, you might remember him playing for the New York Giants, had some knee problems over the last few years. He was picked up by the Packers because they do have a deficiency at nose guard. That time, Neal stops the Raiders short. They have to punt.
And Ray Guy's in punt formation for the Raiders, going to Philip Epps. Ball lands and goes out of bounds about the 30-yard line, and that's where the Packers will take over. There is a timeout on the field. The Green Bay Packers will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 31-yard. Who was injured. We'll talk about Randy a little bit later, because the Packers coaches have a great deal of confidence in him. Not as much as Dickey, but Wright is on the spot now. And he's back to pass. Complete to John Jefferson, knocked out of bounds at the Packer 35-yard line by Lester Hayes.
What a good feeling for the young quarterback, hitting that first completion. And, you know, watch John Jefferson right here. Obviously one of the best receivers in the game. Not the speed or the deep threat of James Lofton. Here he goes in motion. And just as a quick out, Wright delivers the ball before Lester Hayes can get there. It's a good gain for about 5 yards.
2nd and 6 from the Packer 35-yard line. Hand off to Jesse Clark up the middle. He gets up to about the 39-yard line. Tackle there made by Lyle Alzado.
I was just talking about Randy Wright a moment ago, the young man, number 16, the rookie out of Wisconsin. And, you know, the quarterback situation on the Packers, of course, Lynn Dickey is the man. They'd like him to stay around a little bit while longer as they build. But Wright burst right by Rich Campbell. He's the 4th-year man out of Cal. He was a #1 draft choice a few years back, but they thought Randy Wright did so well, and they're so high on him. They got rid of Whitehurst. They put him ahead of Campbell, and here he is going against the world champion Raiders.
3rd and 1. Wright tosses out to Gary Ellis. Coming up out of the secondary is Mike Haynes and Van McElroy to force Ellis out of bounds.
And if they can get that running game going at all, it will take the pressure off Wright and give him a chance to pick and choose his position to throw the ball. But take a look at that Raider defense. Possibly the best in the NFL. Here it's a little motion. Ellis gets the ball, gets some decent blocking out front. You see right there the lead blocker. He detains number 37, Lester Hayes. That gives Ellis a chance to get the extra yard for the first down. No, it's 4th and short, Jimmy. Did not make it.
So the Packers will have to punt. That means Bucky Scribner from Kansas will be in punt formation. And there's a look at Greg Pruitt once again, back about his 15-yard line to receive it. Pruitt at the 15. Greg Pruitt. Tackle there made by number 43, Darrell Jones, who made the fine fumble recovery a little while ago. And that's one of the things that the Raiders really feel they have to get is their special team starter. There is no score here in the first period. The Los Angeles Raiders going against the Green Hill. in the Coliseum in Los Angeles. The home opener for the defending Super Bowl champion Raiders as they're playing the Green Bay Packers. 1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 37-yard line. Jim Plunkett at quarterback. And Plunkett is back to pass. Tosses to Marcus Allen. And Marcus Allen, with a couple of nifty moves, picks up about 8.5 to 9 yards. Tackle there made by Mike Douglas.
A simple principle. Get a good running back in the open field by himself and watch what can happen. As you see, Jim Plunkett is going to throw this ball right at you. Allen in motion. And they say Allen's not the fastest back, but on the field at football speed, watch here, quickness, the ability to spin and get that extra yardage.
2nd and 1 for the Raiders at their 46. Hand off to Kenny King. Once again, Mike Douglas, the fine linebacker for the Green Bay Packers, on the tackle. And there is a flag on the play.
And where the ball is, that's where Mike Douglas will be. He's the man that leads this team in tackles the last 3 of the 4 years as we await the penalty call right here.
Holding, number 52 on the offense. Still 2nd down, 10-yard penalty.
Red Cashin, the referee, against Jim Romano, who's filling in for Dave Dalby today. Romano played for Dalby last week in the Houston game and came in and did an admirable job. But of course, Dalby has that groin injury. He's what they call their Iron Man. He hasn't missed a game in 12 years. And of course, he told us yesterday that he will be in for special team purposes, like snapping for punch today.
But, Jim, this team is so deep that a guy like Jim Romano in his 3rd year out of Penn State can come in for a veteran like Dalby, 13 years out of UCLA, and there be very little drop-off. Of course, a lot of that has to do with the supporting cast. When you look at Mospar and Hanna at the guards, Davis and Lawrence, you're looking at a very experienced offensive line surrounding young Jim Romano.
2nd and 10 for the Raiders at their own 37-yard line. No score. And Plunkett back to pass. Gets pressure, throws downfield, complete to Cliff Branch. Branch tackled by Tim Lewis at the midfield stripe, and it is enough yardage for the 1st down. Also, number 79, Donnie Humphrey, in on the tackle.
Jim Plunkett will stand in here. Take a look at Branch right here, working on the inside. That little bump, Branch drives the defensive back, Mark Lee, to the outside, come back and make the ball. Is actually Tim Lewis. Here's Plunkett after he throws the ball. Blitzes on. You see Douglas, number 52, coming, and then he's hit by Randy Scott and pays the price for that completion.
1st and 10 for the Raiders at the 50-yard line. And it's Plunkett going back to pass again. Good protection. Complete to Malcolm Barnwell. Jim Plunkett going to Malcolm Barnwell. 1st down for the Raiders, deep in Packer territory. That play good for 32 yards.
And, Jim, if you're number 37, Mark Murphy, playing the deep zone, and that rush does not get to the quarterback, you're in deep trouble because Christensen's going down the middle. Murphy has to respect him. Therefore, it leaves Barnwell open on the outside in that double-double deep zone. A real problem for a safety if the rush doesn't get there.
Malcolm Barnwell from Virginia Union in his 4th year. 1st and 10 for the Raiders. Hand off to Marcus Allen. Allen spinning, twisting, turning. Picking up a couple of yards there. Tackle made by Tim Lewis.
And we have a Raider on the ground. They're attending to him. It looks like the cornerback. It looks like Tim Lewis down, the 2nd-year man out of Pitt, who did a heck of a job turning that play in, fighting off the blocker and forcing Allen inside.
So we're seeing early today, John, where the Packers are losing a lot of starters at key positions. You know, Lynn Dickey, the quarterback, Tim Lewis at defensive cornerback.
And, Jim, they're not deep enough to have those kinds of injuries, especially at the quarterback position. It would be a different story if Forrest Gregg were Tom Flores, where Plunkett's there and behind him is Mark Wilson. But Gregg doesn't have the luxury of losing a starting defensive back cornerback like Lewis, who was just hurt, nor his quarterback, Lynn Dickey.
Jim Plunkett is a perfect 4 for 4 for 59 yards. 2nd and 7 at the Packer 15-yard line. Plunkett to pass again. Complete to Cliff Branch at about the 6-yard line. Knocked out of bounds there by number 38, Estes Hood.
And if you think Jim Plunkett isn't a smart quarterback, Estes Hood just came in to replace Tim Lewis. What do? They send Branch right out on him, runs a square out for the completion. Take a look at it at the end. He drives it down and cuts it out. The ball is well thrown. Estes Hood just off the bench, not really time to warm up. Tries to recover, but he can't.
Branch, one of the all-time leading receivers for the Los Angeles Raiders. 1st and 6 from the 6. Frank Hawkins. Hawkins plows his way inside the 5-yard line down to about the 3.
And the biggest problem the Packers have had over the last few years is their defense. They try to shore it up this year. They have 3 rookies starting in that defensive team, both defensive ends, Carrick and Humphrey, and also the safety, Tom Flynn. But they were the worst defense in the NFL last year, Jim.
Kind of amazing for Forrest Gregg, who was with the Cincinnati Bengals, going from the best defense when he was with Cincinnati now to the worst defense last year with the Green Bay Packers.
Life is filled with its little ironies.
2nd and 2 from the 2. Marcus Allen.
Again, you saw Bill Neal, number 77, penetrating. That's what surprises me most. I expected that awesome offensive line of the Raiders to just push around this young defensive line from the Packers. But Bill Neal has made a couple of big plays. Remember, 3rd and short, he broke through to stop Allen. Here again, he penetrates and stops that play.
Well, yesterday, Forrest Gregg was telling us the only thing he wants his club to do is to play hard. He said if you play hard, everything else will take care of itself.
And they are doing exactly that at this moment, Jim.
3rd and 3 for the Raiders. Plunkett to pass. Touchdown, Todd Christensen.
The best play near the goal line in football is the rollout, the pass-run option. Plunkett does not want to run the ball. He's been around too long. Here he has too much time, and Christensen, like a basketball player under the boards, uses his body against Scott, goes up. See Scott behind him. He actually had good coverage. But Todd Christensen, 6'3", 230, went up, used that body, and Scott, who's only 6'1", couldn't get him.
The conversion by Chris Barr is good. And the Raiders have just caught the touchdown pass. Barr kicks off. This will be Del Rogers, 2 yards in the end zone. Gets out to just about the 15 to 16-yard line after hesitating in the end zone. Derek Jensen, number 31, down on the special teams unit to make the tackle for the Raiders.
Derek Jensen.
And there's a scoring drive, Jim. 8 plays, a nice drive, mixed up the run and the pass. 63 yards, took a little over 4 minutes. Plunkett to Christensen, 3-yard touchdown. Raiders lead Green Bay 7-0. Just makes it a lot more difficult for young Randy Wright coming in, trailing 7-0.
He's going to have to forget that he's a rookie and go to work. 1st and 10 for the Packers at their own 16-yard line. Jefferson in motion. And Wright's back to pass. Complete to Henry Childs. Henry Childs, who today is filling in for Paul Kaufman. You know, it was kind of strange yesterday. We were talking with Kaufman about Henry Childs and Len Dickey about Henry, and he said that one of the things that he's concerned with about Henry is that the age factor with him and him coming out here and competing in this heat.
You know, Henry Childs, you're right. He's been in the league 9 years, but he hasn't played or started a game since 1981. Folks might have remembered him. He had some good years with New Orleans, but now the pressure's on him because Kaufman's gone, and the young quarterback Wright needs Henry Childs in his game plan.
2nd and 2. Hand off to Gary Ellis. And Ellis picks up enough yardage for the first down before being tackled by Van McElroy.
Credit that to the offensive line. They just caved down that defensive line from the Raiders and gave Ellis running room outside. Excellent blocking as you look at Ellis's career statistics.
picking up enough yardage for the first down. First and 10
Green Bay.
at the Packer 34-yard line.
Take a look how the offensive line, some good blocking out front. Right there, Ellis to the outside. Finally, McElroy comes over to wrestle him down.
Gary Ellis and Jesse Clark in the backfield for the Packers. Randy Wright, the quarterback. Draw play to Clark.
And on to Jesse Clark.
Tackle there made by Matt Millen.
Matt Millen on the tackle.
Scores a final. The Chicago Bears defeating the Denver Broncos 27-0. And here's another one. The final in overtime. Detroit beating Atlanta 27-24. Tampa Bay and New Orleans. The Saints defeat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 17-13. Forrest Gregg, who really has to be concerned because his starting quarterback Lynn Dickey is out. He's trailing 7-0 against the defending world champion Raiders. Handoff to Clark.
And on to Jesse Clark.
Tackle made by Rod Martin, number 53. Martin, of course, the AFC's Defensive Player of the Year last season.
Interesting setup there. They bring in Philip Epps, the speedy wide receiver in his third year out of TCU, to spread out the defense, and then they try to run a trap play up the middle. The Packer offense's game plan is totally thrown out now. With Dickey in there, you'd see the ball in the air a lot more than they're doing now with Randy Wright. It's just a requirement. They have not been able to run the ball. You remember Dickey yesterday talking about the absence of a dominant running back as being a real problem.
The Raiders in the four-man defensive line trying to get a little push on. They get pressure on Wright. The ball was intended for James Lofton. Coverage there made by Rod Martin, who was putting in a lot of pressure on the quarterback Randy Wright, and Lester Hayes was covering downfield. And there is a flag on the play.
Excuse me, Jim. I was just going to say that Lester Hayes also had a lot of help on that. They were double covering Lofton.
Holding number 67 of the offense. That penalty is declined. It's fourth down.
Penalty against Carl Swanky. 10 seconds to go here in the first period. The Raiders leading 7-0. Fourth down and 3 for the Packers. Bucky Scribner back to kick for Green Bay. Greg Pruitt back for the Raiders at about his own 15-yard line again. Pruitt at the 13. Greg Pruitt gets up to about the 23-yard line. Tackle there made by Ed West. And with that punt, that is the end of the first period here in Los Angeles, California, where the Raiders, the defending Super Bowl champions, lead the Green Bay Packers 7-0. It will be first and 10 for the Raiders at their own 24-yard line. Jim Plunkett at quarterback for the Raiders, and Plunkett having a marvelous day. 6 for 6, 72 yards, 1 touchdown pass, 3-yarder to Todd Christensen.
But that's in keeping in what he told us at practice yesterday. I mean, he said we expect the Packers to play a lot of zone, a lot of deep zone, not give us that bomb, which we like to do, and we'll try sometime. We expect to be able to throw underneath, and that's exactly what he's done. 6 for 6.
Jim Plunkett, the veteran from Stanford. First and 10 for the Raiders. Handoff to Marcus Allen. Marcus is dropped for a loss by Mike Douglas, number 53. Marcus trying to make that move that made him famous in the Super Bowl, but not this particular time, as Donnie Humphrey and Mike Douglas came in to make the tackle. Douglas has been having a great game so far. He's been in on several tackles already.
And you know, Forrest Gregg, when he was talking about that defense, everyone knew how bad they were last year. Lynn Dickey saying we have to score at least 30 points to win, but Forrest Gregg said, you know, our linebackers, especially Mike Douglas, are a lot better than I thought they were watching them on film.
Mike Douglas, one fine young man. Second and 14 for the Raiders. Draw play to Frank Hawkins. Hawkins picks up a couple of yards there. Tackle there made by Bill Neal.
And Bill Neal is a story. I know I keep going back as Bill Neal leaves the field right now, but with the Giants, they thought an awful lot of him. I mean, he was drafted in the 5th round in 1981 by the Giants, played some terrific football for them. Many thought he'd be there for many years at nose tackle. He was injured the last couple of years, had problems. They cut him, the Packers picked him up, and they have a steal.
Third and 13 from the Raider 21-yard line. The Raiders lead Green Bay 7-0. And Plunkett's back to pass. Going deep. Intended for Cliff Branch. Mark Lee's on coverage down there. Number 22, Mark Lee from Washington in the 5th year.
Mark Lee covering.
Well, Jim Plunkett knew he had man-to-man coverage. Lee on Branch, and of course Branch has been around a long time, 13 years, but still has good speed. Here, Lee right here stays with him. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on, but Lee stays with the ball and knocks it away. But you see Branch's concentration, even when he's being bumped and going down, he's still looking for that ball, hoping that it'll drop right into his lap. Great concentration.
Ray Guy, excuse me, John Ray Guy back to punt. And Philip Epps catches the ball on about his 26-yard line and goes out of bounds.
Philip Epps goes out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
So with the score 7-0 in favor of the Raiders, 13:23 left in halftime. We'll be back in just a moment. In the T-shirt that says Green Bay Packers is their starting tight end Paul Kaufman, a fine tight end who's out this week with strained knee ligaments in his left knee, and he will be sorely missed.
Oh, he is. See him there with the clipboard charting the game, and Paul Kaufman, of course, one of the favorite targets of Lynn Dickey. And in a game like today, against a tough defense, you need your tight end.
1st and 10 for Green Bay. Gary Ellis, the ball carrier. Tackle made by Bill Pickell and Bob Nelson. Here's some scores in the first period. Cleveland and the Rams tied at 7-7. The Indianapolis Colts and the Houston Oilers tied in the second quarter at 7-7 also. And San Diego leading Seattle 10-0 in the first period.
And there's Lynn Dickey along the sideline standing up. Doesn't seem to be in any kind of discomfort. But the report we got was that he was speared in the back and having pain.
2nd and 6 for the Packers at the 30-yard line. Right back to pass. Pressure put on Randy right there by Howie Long. Tackle made by Mike Davis. And it's Henry Childs coming up with the reception, and that was a good catch by Henry, and that's one of the things that the Green Bay coaching staff was telling us. They want to get a good, solid performance out of him today.
And you just saw Henry's career stats. He can catch the ball. He has great hands, but watch the trademark of the Raiders. Here, Long smacks right. Childs catches the ball. He's clocked right there by Davis, but makes the catch.
And makes the first down. And here comes the pressure again. Randy Wright did an excellent job of reading the blitz that particular time, completing the pass to Henry Childs. Van McElroy in on the tackle.
Boy, Henry Childs showing those big hands. What puts up the mitt, pulls it right in here. The blitz is on. You see it coming from the outside. Okay, that's Davis on the outside. Wright reads it, gets rid of it. And look at Childs. He's hit. At the same time, he still pulls the ball in.
We're on the offense. Still first down.
Tim Huffman. Is who the penalty was called on. So it will be 1st and 15 for Green Bay at their own 32-yard line.
So it's off and naught, Jim, as they go back 1st and 15. Great catch by Childs. Means nothing.
Wright's back to pass once again. Complete to Gary Ellis. And Gary Ellis gets up to the 45-yard line. Tackle there made by Matt Millen.
Millen on the tackle.
And Gary Ellis, the 50-year man out of Missouri, making people miss. Take a look at it here. Good idea when you don't have a great offensive line and you're facing a team with a good pass rush. Get the ball to your backs in a hurry. Hope they can do something with it. And Ellis does exactly that as he spins away from Millen at the end, gets a few extra yards.
That completion good for 13 yards. It will be 2nd and 2 for Green Bay at their own 45. Jesse Clark spinning up the middle, twisting and turning, picking up enough yardage for the first down. His tackle there is made by Bob Nelson and Matt Millen, the two inside linebackers for the Raiders.
This is not only a confidence builder for the offense, being able to move the ball on the ground, through the air, in short passes against the Raider defense. It also gives the Packer defense, which has been a problem for the last couple of years, time to rest, to gather themselves on the bench for when they have to face the Raider offense.
Especially in this heat, John, because when the Raiders get out there, you know they want to strike anytime they get a chance. Right back to pass. Intended for Henry Childs, just a little bit too long. Mike Davis on the coverage. And once again, the Raiders putting on tremendous pressure. Howie Long and Lyle Alzado making Randy Wright throw just a little bit before he really wants to, and that's why the pass was incomplete and long.
Randy Wright not having a bad afternoon. 4 completions for 6 in 6 attempts for 31 yards. High percentage. And Lynn Dickey, we don't know whether he'll be back or not. He's on the sidelines. He's strolling around. And certainly, Forrest Gregg and the Packers would like to see Lynn Dickey back. He'd be a shot in the arm for them.
The Raiders in with an extra defensive lineman. And Wright's back to pass again. There's Alzado. Randy Wright did an excellent job of getting away from Lyle Alzado, who put tremendous pressure on him. And of course, Alzado was trying to complain to the referee, saying that he had him in his grasp. But of course, that is a judgment call on the part of the official. But Randy Wright is showing a lot of guts out there this afternoon for a young man who really is on the spot.
Alzado. It's grasp and control, Jim, is the rule. Alzado not only has to have a grasp, a piece of him, he also has to have the quarterback in his control.
4-man defensive alignment for the Raiders. 3rd and 10. Hand off to Gary Ellis. Tackle made by Rod Martin and Greg Townsend.
Yeah, but it was the lead block by Jesse Clark, number 33. A good lead low block on Martin that allowed Ellis to get that kind of yardage. Take a look at it from the ground level now. Watch the lead blocker, number 33. Okay, we'll look at it from the end zone. Take a look at it to the left of your screen, number 33. Leads through the hole, gets a good block right there. You see him, he doesn't take Martin down, but he delays him long enough so that Ellis can get the good yardage.
Play action pass by Randy White. Complete to Henry Childs, just about enough for 1 or 2 yards. Randy Wright doing a heck of a job getting away from all kinds of pressure that the Raiders are really putting on it.
That's the difference when you have a young quarterback. It's a new dimension for the Packer offense. Of course, Dickey doesn't have the mobility that Wright has. Watch him here. He feels some pressure, ducks away from it, still looking upfield, has the mobility. Howie Long is chasing him. He's falling down. He still completes it to Childs.
2nd and 9 from the Raider 34-yard line for the Green Bay Packers. Right back to pass. Here comes the rush. Into and out of the hands of Gary Ellis. Rod Martin on the coverage there.
Bob Nelson on the blitz, untouched. Wright did well to get rid of that ball. Ellis just didn't hold it.
Penalty flag.
And there's a flag on the play. The preliminary signal is holding against the Packers.
Holding, number 61 on the offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
David Dressler was guilty of the infraction. So it will be 2nd down and 19 yards to go for the Packers.
And this is the time that the Raiders will come after you with those 4 defensive linemen and those 2 linebackers and 5 defensive backs.
They call that their pirate defense. That means they're coming after you. But it's complete to Gary Ellis. Jeff Barnes in on the tackle. You know, it's kind of amazing that even though the Packers, as young as they are, as inexperienced as they are, right now they're doing a pretty good job.
They sure, and if you can get the quarterback a little bit of time and isolate Ellis one-on-one with Barnes, as happens right here, you see Ellis makes a good inside move. Barnes does well to dive and tackle him. And you're looking at Barnes, number 56, a specialist. He comes in on passing downs, replacing Stanley Adams.
Forrest Gregg hoping his Packers can continue this drive. And here's Wright back to pass again. Lyle Alzado and Howie Long.
The old and the young. 14 years out of Yankton. Howie Long, 4th year out of Villanova. Take a look at Alzado, left side of your screen. Wright never sees him. Bang, right there. Number 64, Sid Kitson, had his hands full, couldn't handle Alzado.
An 11-yard loss. Bucky Scribner back to kick for the Packers. Greg Pruitt about his own 10-yard line. The punt goes into the end zone for a touchback, and the Raiders will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line.
1st and 10, Los Angeles.
Take a look. Now imagine yourself the quarterback. You're looking upfield. You never see the backside.
45-yard kick.
Alzado uses a swim move, comes around, hits right. He never saw.
You know, Lyle was telling me earlier in the year that he thought about not coming back this year. He thought about retiring. We had a victory today. We'll be going against these Green Bay Packers. We'll see if Lynn Dickey gets back. The second half of the doubleheader will be Philadelphia against Dallas. John, you and I will be in Pittsburgh as the Rams take on those Steelers.
In Green Bay, I mean, a lot of people thought it would be Green Bay, Chicago, and Detroit in that NFC Central, but without Lynn Dickey, they're a totally different team. They need him badly. He's on the sidelines. He's walking around. We don't know whether he'll be back in this game today.
1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 20-yard line. They lead the Packers 7-0. 7:52 left to go in the first half. Jim Plunkett at quarterback. And Plunkett's back to pass. Complete to Todd Christensen. Todd Christensen. Tackle there made by George Cumbie and Mark Murphy.
And what can you say about Todd Christensen? 92 receptions last year. What you can say about Jim Plunkett is that the experience. Watch him looking to the right side. Finally, he comes back, finds Todd Christensen open against the zone. Christensen, some of that running ability. Remember, he was drafted way back when as a running back. Here, take a look at the rookie defensive end. He's getting some lessons right there as he's nowhere near Plunkett. And that's Bruce Davis, number 79. Give me a call.
Cliff Branch making the pass reception from Plunkett. Tackle once again made by Bill Neal, and Neal is all over the place this afternoon.
9-yard gain.
I think it's really characteristic of the Raiders here because they know what the Packers are going to do defensive-wise. They know that Green Bay is going to play a lot of zone coverage, and they're going to throw the long ball a little bit just to loosen them up. And when they get loose like that, then they're going to take exactly whatever the Packers give them in the intermediate areas. 2nd and 1 from the 44-yard line. Hand off to Marcus Allen.
Hand off to Marcus Allen.
Allen tackled at about the 45-yard line by Randy Scott and John Anderson.
You know, the Raiders are a notoriously slow-starting team. They haven't done that much in the first quarter. Here in the second quarter, you can feel the momentum picking up. But last week, they trailed Houston and Warren Moon 7-0. And you look what the Packers are doing to Marcus Allen. 6 rushes for 3 yards. Whew. They're shutting down the running game of the Raiders right now. But Plunkett is having a hot day. He's 8 of 9 for 96 yards.
1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 45-yard line. They lead the Packers 7-0. 6 minutes left in the first half. And it's Plunkett going back to pass again. Complete to Marcus Allen. Allen picks up about 1 yard. Tackle made by Tim Lewis.
Tim Lewis on the tackle.
And there's Lynn Dickey walking off the field. He's going into the locker room for x-rays. They say his legs are weak. Possibly the result of the spearing that he took in the back in the first quarter.
You know, and you really feel for an individual like that because he was so cordial to us yesterday. He sat and talked with us for about an hour, and it seemed like he really didn't want to leave.
And the big smile on his face, he said, "Oh, I'm feeling so healthy. I felt the best I've felt since 1977 when I broke my leg." And, of course, Forrest Gregg needs Lynn Dickey as his quarterback if he's going to take this team to the playoffs, as he hopes they'll be able to do.
2nd and 8 for the Raiders at their 48-yard line. The blitz is on. And Plunkett just throws it out of bounds. The nearest Raider receiver was Cliff Branch. Coverage there by Tim Lewis.
Tim Lewis covering on the play.
Jim Plunkett, that time just throwing the ball out of bounds. And he is such a smart veteran quarterback that he is. I think when we talked to him a couple of days ago, we found out, and he really openly admitted that he's more relaxed these days. He's just decided to just kind of go with the flow. He knows what he can do, and he's just going to go out there and do it.
And he has a few things to prove. He really says, you know, I think my peers appreciate me. I think my teammates appreciate me, but I really don't think all of football, the football world, appreciates me and talks about me in the same breath as the Staubachs and the Bradshaws.
3 wide receivers for the Raiders. Plunkett back to pass. And thrown for a loss by Robert Brown. And also Alfonso Carricker.
By Robert Brown.
Of course, Carricker, they think Carricker, number 76, the rookie out of Florida State, the #1 draft choice for the Packers, right here is going to be one of the great ones. A lot of people liken him to Mark Gastineau because of his size, 6'6", good speed, has a good outside rush. That time he didn't get there, but his buddy, the third-year man out of VPI, Robert Brown, did.
4th and 16, Ray Guy back to punt for the Raiders. And Philip Epps back for the Packers. Epps at the 23. And Philip Epps goes out of bounds at about the 35-yard line, forced out there by James Davis.
James Davis pushed him out of bounds.
There is a time of seconds left in the first half. I'm Jim Hill along with John Dockery. 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. Gary Ellis. Bill Pickel and Rod Martin. I know what you mean, John.
I know what you mean. Can you believe number 71, Bill Pickel, at 6'5", 260 pounds, can run down a running back the way he did there? Bill Pickel, almost a designated rusher now. 6 tackles last week, 3 sacks. Watch him right here. Yeah, I'll run with you, Ellis. Yeah, who's faster? Take a look at it. Just pulls him down from behind. They should be outlawed, Jim. Oh, my. Awesome talent.
Number 71, Bill Pickel. 2nd and 11. Loss of a yard. Packers have the ball at their own 35-yard line. Toss back to Harlan Huckabee. Penalty flags on the play. Tackle made by Matt Millen.
Penalty flag in the play.
And it looked like number 93, Greg Townsend, was a little anxious there, got into the offensive line early, and that's the call. Offsides. Raiders.
You know, Lynn Dickey was talking about his running game yesterday.
Offside, number 93 on the defense, still 2nd down.
Greg Townsend. You know, we're talking about Lynn Dickey. He was talking about his running game, and he was but he was very concerned about that. He said, you know, I wish one of my running backs would just come back to me and say, give me the ball 25 or 30 times. I can pick up enough yardage for him. And it's kind of surprising that in spots this afternoon, their running game has been pretty good.
And they needed it. Perhaps it's picking up the slack with their quarterback hurt. They know everyone else has to play a little bit harder.
Toss back to Gary Ellis. Ellis fights his way up to about the 42, 43-yard line. Matt Millen, number 55, in on the tackle, along with 51, Bob Nelson.
And Mike Davis, number 36, and Lyle Alzado did a pretty good job filling there. Didn't give them any room to run. Ellis not having a bad afternoon. He's already carried the ball 7 times for 33 yards. But this secondary, these defensive players are intimidating. They love to hit.
3rd and 2 now for the Packers. Randy Wright at quarterback. Flags on the play. They looked at that particular time like Randy and his center, Larry McCarron, had a miscommunication there.
And Jim, they had a little bit different formation in there. They had number 49, Ed West, the backup tight end for Henry Childs in the game. Of course, Paul Kaufman is out with a knee.
False start. Number 68 on the offense, 5 yards, still 3rd down.
The false start was on Greg Cook. And that's an interesting story in itself, because here's a man who was out with a back problem, and he's been taking shots trying to get himself back into condition, get ready to go, and this is his first start this year. 3rd and 7. Penalty flags again, as Howie Long doesn't take any chances at all, slamming Randy Wright to the ground.
What can you say about Howie Long? All-Pro last year, 13 sacks in 1983. I mean, just an awesome talent. Many people say it's either Howie Long or Mark Gastineau as the most dominant defensive ends in the game.
Now Long and the rest of his Raider teammates are complaining to the officials.
Offside, defense, still 3rd down.
And that's the reason why the Raiders were called for offsides.
Of course, we all know that the Raider defense, they're angelic. They never do anything wrong. The Raiders would never have a penalty against them. It's one of the things they live on. They love to just intimidate. They'll take the penalties and use it for their own benefit.
3rd and 2. Right back to pass. Knocked down there by Howie Long. Great individual effort.
And it's interesting, the athletic ability of Howie Long. He can be fighting off the big offensive tackle, number 68, Greg Cook, and still have the athletic ability to get his hand off. Take a look at it right here. As Wright rolls out, watch the right of your screen. You see a battle between number 68 and there's Long. See, he's battling him. He still gets his left hand up, almost pulls it down for an interception. An outstanding athlete.
4th and 2. Bucky Scribner back to punt for the Packers. Greg Pruitt to receive for the Raiders at about his own 12-yard line. The ball gets by Pruitt and goes out of bounds at the 8-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. That's where the Raiders will take over. 1st and 10. 3 minutes left in the first half. 3 minutes left in the first half. The Raiders lead the Green Bay Packers 7-0. The Packers are really staying in this ball game because of their punting. Bucky Scribner just kicked the ball 48 yards deep into Raider territory. Jim Plunkett at quarterback. Calling an audible now. Hand off to Marcus Allen.
Excuse me, Jim. Interesting situation there as Marcus Allen is taken down. The offense called an audible, and the defense called an audible. They're both changing on the line of scrimmage. Shows you how sophisticated the game has gotten.
2nd down and 6.
And, of course, everyone thinking all the time.
All the time.
But, you know, today isn't only football going on today. It's the U.S. Open Tennis Men's Singles Final. There's a look at the score. John McEnroe defeating Ivan Lendl in the first set 6-3. And Lendl leading right now in the second set 2-1.
What a match yesterday. Lendl and Cash. Lendl coming back to beat Cash. Great tennis.
Frank Hawkins, the ball carrier. Tackle made by George Cumbie. And it's one of the things, one of the big things that the Raiders are really able to do. Of course, we all know about the great running back in Marcus Allen, but they have an arsenal of running backs back there, and they can put them in at any time. They get down close to the goal line, and all of a sudden you see Frank Hawkins in there.
And they had just a balanced attack. I mean, it's no secret what Jim Plunkett and the Raiders want to do. They just want to run the ball. They want to throw upfield. They have a balanced attack. They're a veteran team. They know what they can do, Jim, and they're comfortable with it. Even if they get behind, they're comfortable. They lead here 7-0.
As the Raiders lead the Green Bay Packers 7-0. Not a very productive first half for Marcus Allen. 7 carries, only 7 yards. 3rd and 2 for the Raiders. And Plunkett goes back to pass. He's sacked by Mike Douglas. Mike Mad Dog Douglas, as they call him. You know, he told us yesterday, he says, I'm going to make some big plays. I'm going to make some real big plays, and certainly he has this afternoon.
Boy, Mike Douglas, so much quickness. He has to rely on his quickness. He's only 6 feet, about 210 pounds. Watch him come from the outside. So quick, no chance right there. As Hanna tries to block him, he gets Plunkett and takes him down for the sack. What's a mismatch, Jim? Anytime you have a quick linebacker like a Douglas, and he's really undersized. He's not the Lawrence Taylor type of dominant 240-pound linebacker. He's more like a defensive back, speed and quickness. That time, offensive lineman Hanna at 6'5", 260 had no chance because he was just too quick.
It was very interesting talking to Mike yesterday because he had some problems in Green Bay, got suspended last year, and he was very open with us about it. He said he's the kind of individual who likes to speak his mind, and since Forrest Gregg has come and taken over as head coach of the Packers, he says he's had a great talk with Forrest Gregg. Forrest Gregg's philosophy fits his particular style of play perfectly. He's totally happy with the Green Bay area right now, and he's going to be an even better ball player. 4th down, and Ray Guy's back to punt. Not a very good punt for Ray Guy, but it does get a Raider bounce and gets up to about the Raider 48-yard line. So the ball went off the side of Ray Guy's foot, but it got a good bounce. And the Green Bay Packers will take over 1st and 10 at the Los Angeles Raider 48-yard line. So with 1 minute and 42 seconds left in the first half, it's the Raiders lead. Of course, we're all looking forward to those highlights from the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. But right now, a minute 42 left in the first half. The Packers have the ball in Raider territory. Here's a reverse to James Lofton. And Wright's out leading the 4 block. James Lofton on the reverse. Forced out of bounds at about the 31-yard line of the Los Angeles Raiders. Good for 17 yards.
And of course, we've seen Lofton do that before, take the reverse and go all the way. But watch the quarterback, number 16, Randy Wright, out in front. Take down number 59, Stanley Adams, right, bing, right there. Gives Lofton a little extra running room. Look at that speed. He turns it on for some extra yards. Good position to score now.
1:34 left in the first half. 1st and 10. Play action pass. Off the fingertips and a little behind John Jefferson. Covered there by Mike Haynes.
And he had his tight end, Henry Childs, out in the flat, wide open. Wright looked a little tentative on that. But of course, he's got great coverage and bump and run on the outside. Right here, take a look at the bump and run. Jefferson fighting inside. He's actually open for a moment as Mike Haynes is behind him, but the ball is poorly thrown. No completion.
1:29 left in the first half. 2nd and 10 for the Packers at the Raider 31-yard line. Pitch back to Gary Ellis. Run pass. Complete to Henry Childs at about the 14-yard line of the Raiders. So the Packers right now are pulling out all stops. They are coming up with all kinds of trick plays. They had the reverse. They had the run pass. Good for 17 yards. And Lynn Dickey told us yesterday, he says, we may even have a run pass in there. And there it is.
But who does Gary Ellis think he is? Marcus Allen? This is a nice throw. Takes the ball very coolly. Here you see some motion to make it look like a run. He gets a little lead block out in front. And then he just flips the ball to Childs, who catches it in the hands, as you should. 1st down. Great field position.
Van McElroy in on the tackle for the Los Angeles Raiders. And there's a look at Henry Childs, who is a truly interesting story. Out of football all last year. The last time he played was with the Los Angeles Rams. He was an All-Pro with the New Orleans Saints. And Paul Kaufman was telling us yesterday, along with Lynn Dickey, that they really want this man to have a good game. Of course, they're going to miss Kaufman today. He is a great football player. But they also feel that if Henry Childs can have a great game, a decent game, where he can come up and make 6, 7, maybe 8 receptions, that will more than make up for the absence of Kaufman.
Now, yes, exactly right. And he's been making some good receptions. He's not a speedy tight end. He's on those short patterns, and that's how they've been using him. You remember back in 1978 in New Orleans, caught 53 passes for almost 900 yards. So he is a good receiving tight end. Not a bad blocker, not a terrific blocker.
1st and 10 for the Packers. Right back to pass. Across the middle, complete to John Jefferson. And he's knocked down there by Van McElroy.
John Jefferson.
Who will knock your helmet off, Van McElroy. That's what they pride themselves. When you look at that secondary, you have great cornerbacks in Haynes and Hayes, but you have the hitters inside to also intimidate them. Take a look at it again. Here he is over in the middle. The blitz is on. It's picked up on the left-hand side. He just cuts underneath, and watch the hit he's going to take right there.
Wasn't it really amazing? We talked to Lester Hayes yesterday, and Lester said, and he's played with some good ones from Jack Tatum on, he said that Van McElroy consistently is the best free safety that he has ever played with.
And not only that, he went one step further to just say, in terms of being a deluxe hitter, Van McElroy is it, even more so than Jack Tatum. And you can, as you said, always rely on him. When you need him, he'll be inside. So when a John Jefferson or a Lofton comes inside, as a cornerback, you must have confidence that your free safety is going to be there.
1 minute and 3 seconds left in the first half, and the Packers are driving right now. They have the ball, second down and 3 yards to go at the Raiders' 7-yard line. And, you know, this is typically where the Packers really have you where they want you, especially when Lynn Dickey is in there, because from the 10-15-yard line on in, they aren't afraid to throw the ball, especially on quick slant patterns.
Or the quick takeoff to Lofton with the great speed and the good size.
Randy Wright at quarterback. And he's back to pass. Touchdown, Ed West. Randy Wright scrambling around, moving inside and out, hitting Ed West in the end zone for a touchdown. Mike Davis on the coverage there. And once again, we were told a little bit by Lynn Dickey that they wanted to make Mike Davis cover one-on-one on their tight ends.
But you're saying to yourself, who the heck is Ed West? Well, he's the backup tight end, and he's picking up the slack. Here, though, it's really Wright. Taking time. He's got the mobility. Bing West makes the catch. Davis is too far off. But how often have you seen one player pick up the slack for another? Kaufman's out. Childs is tiring. So West makes the catch for the touchdown.
Eddie Garcia to attempt the extra point. And it's good. So the Green Bay Packers, behind backups, come back to tie the game with 57 seconds left in the first half.
With 57 seconds left, it'll be interesting. What the Raiders will do depends upon what kind of field position they get. One of the reasons that this game is tied 7-7 is that Bucky Scribner, the punter for the Packers, has been having an excellent afternoon, having a 45-yard average, so the Packers have had good field position. The Raiders have not had great field position. So what they do here will depend upon how far Garcia puts the ball down the field, how much of a run back they get. But seldom do you see the Raiders, Jim, just sit on the ball. They like to take advantage of every opportunity they have.
And John, they have 3 timeouts left. So you can go a long ways in the National Football League with 57 seconds and 3 timeouts. Dokie Williams at the 6-yard line. He's belted down there by Estes Hood, and that's where the Raiders will take over 1st and 10 at about their own 22-yard line.
And, Jim, you mentioned the 3 timeouts. You also mentioned that you have Jim Plunkett as a veteran quarterback.
Next Saturday here on CBS Sports, college football. The Washington Huskies versus the Michigan Wolverines. 11 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock on the Pacific Coast. And here's another one. This will be a good one. The WBC World Super Welterweight Championship. Thomas the Hitman Hearns going against Fred Hutchins and the Woodward and Futurity Stakes. You know that's going to be a great, great matchup right there. Plunkett back on 1st down. In and out of the hands of Todd Christensen. John Anderson covering.
And it's interesting as you look at Plunkett and Todd Christensen. Last week, you know, Christensen was a holdout through most of the preseason. He wanted a new contract, and personally, I think he deserved it after catching 92 passes last year. But Christensen's timing and that little extra step, last week he didn't have it. He dropped a couple of balls. Plunkett overthrew him. Right there, the same situation. Mid-season, Todd Christensen probably would have caught that ball.
But he'll get more chances this afternoon. 46 seconds left. 2nd and 10 for the Raiders. Plunkett back to pass again. Robert Brown, the first man in, and Alfonso Carricker.
And that's where they've been weakest. The Packer defense last year only had 41 quarterback sacks. So what does Forrest Gregg do? He rebuilds the front 4. He gets Carricker, he gets Humphrey, he gets a young man like Robert Brown, number 93. Take a look at him right here on the big rush. Comes over the top of Plunkett, and down he goes.
Just outside the 15-yard line.
The 3rd sack of the day for the Packers for 22 yards. 3 wide receivers in for the Raiders. Dokie Williams joining Cliff Branch and Malcolm Barnwell. Hand off to Marcus Allen. Good stiff arm by Marcus, and he gets up to about the 30-yard line.
The only thing I'd argue about there was him not getting out of bounds to save the timeout. So therefore, the Raiders have to use one of their timeouts. Nice move, good straight arm. Doesn't get out of bounds. I'm a little surprised in Marcus.
Tackle made by Tom Flynn and Mark Murphy. Timeout on the field. That run good for 14 yards. 6 seconds left in the first half. The Raiders used their first of their 3 remaining timeouts, so they have 2 left.
So actually, it didn't make that much difference because they have enough. It's with only 6 seconds left. You got to think that the Raiders will just put it up and send it downtown.
Here's a look at Forrest Gregg coming up at halftime. Scores, highlights, and the U.S. Open Tennis Championships. Highlights from that with Brent and Irv. Forrest Gregg in his first year as head coach of the Green Bay Packers after getting a great deal of coaching experience around the league. San Diego, Dallas, Cleveland, Cincinnati.
It's interesting that the Raiders have decided with just 6 seconds left to put Ray Guy into the game and not take a chance. Of course, on 4th down, you wouldn't want to fumble. You wouldn't want to give the ball back to the Packers. So they're just going to ride it out here and go in 7-7 at the half.
Ray Guy punting for the Raiders. The Packers do not have anyone back deep. They don't want to take any chances, and they may even try to block it here. And they just let Guy punt it away. A booming kick. Inside the 10-yard line, down to about the 7. And on that punt by Ray Guy, that is the end of the